everyone, it's TragicPlumbob here and I've got a brand new video. So you might have noticed, yep, I'm not uploading this on a Sunday. Your girl's busy, what can I say? I've been playing football, I'm tired, and yeah, I'm hoping to manage a voiceover. So today's video is 35 minutes, I managed to trim it down. So let's talk about the build a little bit. So what I decided to do is, if you follow me on Instagram, I've got a couple who went on a honeymoon, and then I created the CAS for the female sim that went on this honeymoon. She's got quite a grungy style. I really like the sim. I think that she's awesome. Unfortunately, I didn't actually record me creating her, but what I decided was I really wanted to build a house for her and her partner, the one that went on the honeymoon. And the kind of idea that I had for this couple was, so they're both alternative models. They both work in the city. If this was in real life, they would be in London, because that's where all the photo shoots were. And so what I decided was, perfect, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a townhouse style, one that's like London. I mean, in theory, this house would be detached, like a terrace house, so it'd be detached to other houses. But for this build, I decided, do you know what? I ain't going to make another house to attach along it. I can just about build one house, so I'm not going to try and do multiple. So the idea with this house is they don't actually own it, they just rent it because they couldn't actually afford a house like this. So when we actually get to decorating the inside of this build, it has a bit of this and that furniture. Some of it is the landlord's, some of it's theirs. So not everything is matching and not everything is perfect. But to be honest, that's one of the reasons why I actually really like this build. So I did use an image to create this build as a bit of a reference. It's not completely copied, it was more just for inspiration. So I did have something that I was looking at, and I was got the shape and that kind of window bit at the front. One thing I do really struggle with is landscaping outside, but I actually was really happy with this. So I do actually change this around quite a few times. I kept trying to use a tree, but as we know, the reason why I use trees is if I don't like something, so I put a tree there to hide the problem. But I actually like this build, I'm really happy with it, and so I decided that I wasn't going to hide it with a tree. I was going to use smaller plants, smaller shrubs, and because they are renting and they are a younger couple and they're out all the time doing their modelling career, do you know what, they're not going to be at home doing the garden and stuff, so it has got that overgrown kind of feel to it. But yeah, that's kind of the idea that I was going with. So it's a London townhouse, probably should be a terrace, but your girl Tragic can't be bothered building multiple houses. I mean, I would have, but do you know what, I just wanted to build one and just have fun with it, and as I said, yeah, I'm really happy with how this turned out. So one thing that I am going to do in the next build that I do is try and avoid using Discover University windows, because I think the last few builds I just go to them. I love them. They're probably, do you know what, Discover University windows are probably my favourite in the entire game. I think that you could use them for so many types of builds. You can use them for new, you can use them for old. They're really versatile, and I think I've mentioned this before in a video, one thing that the Sims always need to do with the packs that they're creating is make items that are versatile. And if they don't make them versatile, then I'm trying to think of a pack where, do you know what, it's not versatile, and it's probably my pet stuff, so that's quite a difficult pack to use, unless you're doing a crazy pet person. I mean, I'm actually someone that quite likes the products, but I do agree that it probably should have come with cats and dogs rather than be an add-on game pack. But we're not going to go into the politics of what EA should do, because yeah, let's not talk about it. I mean, to be fair, they have recently put out a message about my wedding stories, but it's not great, is it? It's not great releasing a game that doesn't work. But yeah, so one thing that I am going to try and practice doing is not spinning my build around so much while I'm building, because I know that it can make you feel a little bit sick. And you know what, I do get really bad motion sickness, but I can't help it. I'm literally swinging it around, trying to get it in the right position to like have a look at it, and I just forget that I'm recording it and that other people are gonna actually be watching this, hopefully. And yeah, this is how I build. It's a bit all over the place, and I always look at like different items that I have. So this build has got no CC in it. I do pick up a couple of items and then I decide not to use it. I just decided that I really, I didn't want to use CC in this build. I wanted to use just game items. So I'm probably going to upload this to the gallery. It's probably going to be a part of my save file because I have fallen in love with it. And yeah, I love the Sims that are inside of it. I might show you who the Sims are. I haven't decided that, I haven't got that far, but yeah, no. So the couple that are inside of it, as I explained, they are alternative models. They've newlyweds, very loved up. They both, they do a lot of their work together. They have 2 Rottweilers, so there's quite a few items in the build that are for Rottweilers. I don't know, they really, because they're like quite an alternative couple and stuff, like they really suited like having like, that quite large dog and stuff. So yeah, I'm really happy with the family and I'm happy with the build. But yeah, so looking at the garden, so one of the things that I think I've mentioned before is I really want to get better at landscaping gardens. I think I've really struggled with, so I'll get like quite a few images up on Pinterest and I'll be like, yeah, I want to do this and I want to do that. And I just really find it difficult to like replicate it and stuff. And the other thing as well, and I'm going to put it so that you can answer in the comments below, does this build have too many windows? Because, do you know what, I'm currently like in the process of buying my own house, and most of the houses that I've gone and looked at don't actually have as many windows as this. So I'm like, is this too many windows, or does it look normal? Does it look weird? Can you please let me know, what do you think? Is that too many? Should it just be 3 or 2 upstairs? So yeah, I'm currently trying to make the build. I'm trying to decide what brick it should be. So because it's a townhouse and it's in London, I decided that it was going to be like this like brick colour. I think I eventually decided to use the red colour rather than the grey, and I love it. I think it looks great. Like, it's a colour that I wouldn't normally use on a build. I'd be too scared to. I'd be like, oh, it's too leery. But on this build, it actually looks so cute. One thing I also find really difficult is trying to match like the wallpaper or the brickwork with the roofing, because I think that do you know what we have? Even if you look at there, like we do actually have quite a lot of like roofings to choose from, but at the same time we don't. Does that make sense? Like, although there is quite a few options, we don't seem to have a lot of options, and it's really difficult, especially when you're doing like an island build, because I feel like you have those straw ones or those like metal ones, and yeah, it still doesn't feel like you've got much choice and it's quite limited. But yeah, so this is the brick that I decided to go with, and I really like it. It's not something I normally use. I think that it, sometimes it can look a little bit naff, especially if depending on where you're building. So this build is in Windenburg. Honestly, I do not remember any of the pack names, any of the world names, any of the sim names. So yeah, apologies if I get it wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's Windenburg, the one that came with Get Together. But yeah, it's based in there. I did have quite a hard time trying to choose where to put a townhouse, because yeah, initially what I was going to do was a terraced style thing with multiple houses. Then yeah, no, my brain couldn't cope with doing multiple houses. Do you know what it was? So I tried to do it, and I couldn't figure out where was the best place to put the stairs, and then yeah, I just decided to do one build because I was like, my brain can't cope with this. So I'm just going to quickly talk about this, what do you call it? Begola? Oh my god, it took me so long to find where it is. Like, why is it? So where you actually find this item, so this is a base game one, it came with an update, and it's, the table in the dining room area, so the bowl of fruit, it's in there. Why is it under a middle piece table item? Why isn't it outdoor you know, like where that fountain is in the outdoor thing. I have no idea, but it took me so long to find it, and I was getting so angry because I knew exactly the one that I wanted to use. I was like, yes, I'm gonna have this. So you might be looking at this right now and thinking, why on earth have you used that ugly red swatch? So the reason why I have used this red swatch, which isn't completely to my liking, is because they're like quite an alternative couple and stuff, and I can imagine them being quite into like traditional tattoos and stuff. I was like, do you know what, red kind of suits their personalities quite a bit, and this is an item of furniture that they do actually have and they have brought to the house. So I wanted the house, like the items that they've brought to the property, to be quite modern, and for, you know, to have a bit of a like flair to it. So one of the other things that the female sim does is she does knitting and painting. So there is a paint room and knit room, and the reason for this was I did actually know someone who used to do alternative modelling, and one of the things that she used to do was she would actually make a lot of her clothing. So I kind of thought to myself, do you know what, that's a really sick idea for this sim. So like, she does alternative clothing, she does actually, you know, make her own clothing for her photo shoots, but also, yeah, she does a bit of painting. I haven't figured out whether they have like other jobs. I can't imagine that the modelling at the moment gets them a lot of money, so I think they probably do other jobs, like maybe like retail or something, or maybe like a barista. But yeah, no, all I was thinking was, they're alternative models, that's how they met each other, they do photo shoots together, and they have 2 Rottweilers. So yeah, I try to use like funky items, so that's why we've got these flamingo deck chair and toasty deck chair, because, you know, they're in a rented accommodation and they do pick up like random items, like, you know, they go to the flea market and they're like, oh, look at this, I'll pick it up. So that's the kind of couple they are, like they do pick up like random things. But there are other things that, you know, they're part of the build, and the landlord said, because I own this property, you're not allowed to move it, because, you know, landlords are very annoying like that. Well, most of mine have been. Actually, do you know what, I have had one really amazing landlord, and then the others, interesting, but let's not get onto that. But yeah, like, yeah, you know exactly. Do you know what, if you live in rented accommodation, you know exactly what I mean, don't you? You try to put something in and you're like, oh, well, could you change this door a bit? Oh, my fridge is broken, do you mind changing that? No, that costs money. Well, that's what it's been anyway, like how we've had to deal with it. So, but yeah, so there are a few items in this build which you'll look at and you'll be like, why on earth have you picked that for an alternative couple that are quite young? And it's because they didn't have a choice, they had to keep it there. So like, yeah, the washing line was one of these. So I really wanted the washing line because I liked the idea of, if you are going to use this build, being able to use laundry day. Although, do you know what, thinking about it, I didn't include a washing machine or dryer, so that's actually going to be quite difficult. So now what you're going to end up having is your Sims flowing their clothes around because there's a laundry thing and they can't even wash their clothes. Well done. Points go to me to make your life very difficult when using this house. Well, it's up to you. If you know, as I say, it's going to be on the gallery. If you do want to use it, feel free. If you want to change things, again, feel free. I'm really not fussed if you decide to use it and change it. So when I got the layout to this, I actually found, when I got to the inside of it, should I say, I found the layout really easy. I kind of knew exactly the kind of style I was going for. I knew that as soon as you walked in through the front entrance, there was going to be stairs, and I knew that the kitchen was going to be by the back so that you could look into the garden, and then the front area with that nice like balcony, like bay window style thing. Like I knew that was going to be the living room, and I kind of already had like, yeah, this layout of what each room was going to look like. I didn't actually know what the kitchen was going to be like, but I knew that the living room, the TV was going to go in where the bay window was, and the sofa was going to be like just behind the door. I don't know why I had this idea, but I did, and you know what, it actually worked out quite nicely. It didn't look weird, it made sense. So yeah, it came together really quickly. So when I was doing upstairs, I couldn't decide whether I wanted to do, 1 second. What's wrong? You're ruining my video. Everyone can hear you complaining. Sorry. So that is my cat, Lucrezia. Or for short, her name is Lulu. And all day she's been crying. There's nothing wrong with her. She just sometimes just needs a bit of love and a bit of attention and a bit of extra care. So she's decided that even though everyone else in the house is asleep, she wants to be awake and wants to talk to me whilst I'm trying to do this voiceover. So if you hear some interesting meows in the background, that is her, because she does have quite a croaky, interesting one. But yeah, sorry about that. So as you can see, we've moved on to the living room. And yeah, I really tried to use this, what is that from? It was that weird pack. The one that's like trying to be posh, but you're not really posh, and all the items were a bit weird. But yeah, I tried to use that. It didn't really work very well. And then I tried this sofa. I really liked the sofa, but then I really wanted like an armchair, like, you know, like an old granny style armchair, like that the landlord had left. But it just didn't go with the room and it didn't really work. So I ended up using this, which is from the Paranormal Activity. So the sofa is from Dream Home Decorator. The chair is from Paranormal Activity. And then, so another thing I decided to do was, one thing I noticed in when Jessica Pie YT does videos, if she puts a chimney in, she gets quite a lot of comment, and she doesn't put a fireplace, she gets quite a lot of comments about, well, where's the fireplace? I mean, yeah, you could actually remove the fireplace and just keep the chimney. Like, I think I know quite a few people that have done that. But I decided, instead of having like an actual working fireplace, what the landlord decided to do was they removed it, but they kept like the wall part of it. So that used to be where the fireplace was, but yeah, they removed it and they've just kept it as a wall feature, so you can put ornaments on it, and yeah, it looks quite nice. I mean, generally they're normally like in bedrooms and stuff, but I decided it's going in the kitchen, because who doesn't want a fireplace in their kitchen? Yeah, as I said, it's a bit of a weird house because it is like it's meant to be like an older style house. So another thing you might have noticed is I am using the industrial kit quite a bit. So the reason what I was thinking was, so they're a newlywed couple and they've recently just bought some furniture. So they've bought a few matching items which they've used around the house. So I decided to use the industrial kit. So they've used the table, they've used that side piece, and then they use a few pieces in the bedroom. And it's just because, yeah, they're a newlywed couple, they went to Argos, they picked a few items, or they went to IKEA, and they're like, yeah, these are the items we're going to keep taking with us to every house or where we go, and you know, when we eventually buy a place, we'll have this forever. So that's why they're here. They do look a bit like, not sure. So I decided, because the female sim did a lot of art and stuff, I wanted like a lot of the pieces on the walls that I used to look as if she had painted them, so that when you know, they didn't look like they were these really like grand, nice pieces of paintings. Well, to be fair, the ones I choose, they are actually really nice, but I decided that I wanted them to be like a bit like modern, and it was because she's created them, or she's chose them because she's really into that type of thing. So at the moment you can see that I'm just trying to like clutter up this fireplace and actually like, you know, make it so that, you know, it kind of represents them, even though there's this weird wacky fireplace in the kitchen that no one understands why it's there, and they just, you know, it should have just been knocked down, but it's there, so do you know what, you might as well use it. So what I tried to do was I tried to look for items. I think I decided that I'm going to use Journey to Batu, because if you've watched my previous build, you will know that I'm obsessed with using like the little like toy figure things, whatever they are, like the little mini ones, like the figurines that are Star Wars. I just love them. I'm personally a massive Star Wars fan. Like, I wasn't really happy when they decided to have Journey to Batu, just because I don't think Journey to Batu and Sims, like, yeah, I don't get it. I don't think it goes particularly well. But as toys, yeah, that's wicked. Like, I really wish that they had like Harry Potter toys. Do you know what I mean? Like, because you've got the, what is it? Henry Puffer pack. So that's a CC pack. So I'll tell you into a little secret. It's not a secret, but you know, we'll pretend it's a secret. So you know Harry Potter. So if you love it, like I do, there is a CC pack called Henry Puffer, and it does like little toys, it does like posters, and it's all like, the names are all changed, so it doesn't use Harry Potter and it uses Henry Puffer, and everything's like slightly different, but you know exactly who it is. And I think that's wicked, like, and I really wish that The Sims would do that, because I like it, like using these Star Wars figures. I think it looks really realistic. It looks like something that this couple would actually have in their house. So one thing that I struggled with quite a bit was I found it difficult to find items that would suit them, like with their alternative style. So I used a few of like the sugar skulls and things like that, but in general, yeah, I did find it quite difficult to actually find something that made sense for them. Again, so the reason why I use this counter, and I will be honest, I don't like this counter colour at all. I think that it's minging. It's not something I would personally have in my kitchen. Apologies if you've got it in yours. But the reason why I chose it was because the build is meant to be slightly older and they are renting it. It's something they didn't have a choice over. And so, you know, like if you've lived in rented accommodation, so you go and visit it and you like the size of the house, it's like the bills are quite good, the rent, you know, it's got that good price, but the kitchen's a bit manky. Like, it's not dirty, it's just not the colours you would personally pick if you were gonna buy it. That's why I decided to choose it, because that has happened to me so many times. Not actually in the place that I'm currently in. So the place I'm currently in, the landlord has got the decorating on point to my style. Like, it's like I decorated it myself. Like, he's chose everything that I would have chosen. But in other places that I've gone, this has not been the case, especially with the kitchens. So one of the kitchens that I've previously lived in, it was bright orange, like orange. And it was just, yeah, it wasn't to my taste. So that was kind of the inspiration behind this kitchen was, yeah, I just wanted it to look a little bit like oldie worldy, something that you wouldn't really choose. I mean, I do think like the marble's like quite nice, like that makes it look very like, ooh, marble, that's chic. But yeah, I personally wouldn't pick those colours, and I don't think my Sims would pick those either. So at the moment I'm just trying to clutter it up and use like items just to make the kitchen lived in. And as I mentioned earlier, I haven't used any CC, so I did go through debug, I did go through like multiple items to try and make this, you know, like work and look as if like the kitchen was used and stuff. So I was really excited to be able to use a dishwasher, because I was like, yeah, the landlord's nice enough that he did leave, or she did leave, a dishwasher for the Sims to be able to use. And they've got quite a nice fridge that's there. It's not the best, but it will do. So yeah, I'm just going through items at the moment to try and find ones that will work and, you know, that go with the Sims, but also, you know, they're kitchen items. So I thought this couple, like, they do collect things. They are like those people that will just pick up random stuff and will end up just putting it in places, and yeah, you get the gist. So I'm using at the moment a few items from stuff packs. So I think these are from Backyard, Cool Kitchen, Perfect Patio. Yeah, I did just Google that because I'm never going to remember those names, and you know, Sims don't seem to carry out a theme on what they call their packs, because yeah, one minute they're called one kind of thing and then the next minute they're called another kind of thing. So yeah. So I also decided to use outdoor retreat, and I put a frog in their build. So I don't know, I just kind of thought like they were the kind of couple that would like a frog as a pet, because why not? Like, frogs are quite cool. I would have a frog. So yeah, do you know what, my method to my madness is sometimes like a little bit weird. Like, you know, not everyone would like a frog, but I think this couple would like a frog. Let's hope that the Rottweilers don't get into the tank. I think that a cat would be more likely to get in it than a Rottweiler, but you know, I also think that the frog looks a little bit poisonous, so let's really hope that the dogs don't get it. But yeah, I just thought it was like quite a, you know, I saw it and I was like, yeah, let's have it. Yeah, I also put the magazine from Spa Day in, and it's just to make it look like, you know, maybe it's like come through the door, or one of them's like collected it when they've been out shopping and it's just left on the side, like, you know, because they've either been reading it or they're about to read it. Yeah, so I went through debug and I found like a few items such as like the spray bottle. I was going to use the milk somewhere, but then I just, yeah, couldn't use it. I love this bottle because I think if you're not using CC, it really looks like oil on the side. Yeah, I got like a can of Coke because, you know, maybe she's prepping some food and she's got some, you know, she's got a drink going. That's what I do. I'll normally be prepping what we're having for dinner and then have like a can of Coke on the side. But yeah, so one thing I absolutely love about my wedding pack is the teapot. So you see this little palm tree item as well, that's from the wedding pack. And so the couple recently had their wedding, well, they had their honeymoon on the beach, and I think they had their wedding on the beach as well, and then they continued it onto the they continued their honeymoon on the beach because they had it there. So on their cake, the topper, it was a palm tree, so they brought it home and they have it as a little decoration, you know, a little keepsake. I thought that was like quite a cute idea that you could keep your wedding toppers as keepsakes and stuff. Like if you have like the people cake toppers, you could put that like on your dressing table or something. I think, yeah, that's something I would do. I'd probably keep my cake topper and use it. So yeah, at the moment I'm just creating their bedroom. So you might notice that I decided to give the couple the smaller bedroom, and the reason for this was I think they just decided they preferred the layout quite a bit more. I mean, is it bigger? I can't decide whether it's bigger or it's just a different shape. So it might actually be like a little bit bigger, it's just a different shape, so it looks like smaller. But I thought that they really wanted the bay window, and they had furniture that kind of would look nice in this space, so yeah, they went with this room. So as you can notice, I did use the industrial kit for this space. I thought it was like perfect. As I mentioned earlier, they're a newlywed couple. They've just recently gone to IKEA or Argos and they've bought their own furniture, and there's a few items that, you know, they want to keep forever, and, you know, they've used some of them in this house. So the stuff like items such as like the bed, the rug, the mirror, the wardrobe. So this is stuff that is not owned by the landlord. But then you see here, so there's that white drawers. That's something they don't own. It's completely different to their style. It's not like dark tones. It's white with like diamond handles. That's something this couple probably wouldn't have, but this is something that the landlord has asked. So the other thing that the landlord decided to do was keep the bed in the other bedroom. So they actually wanted this to be the art room space. But the landlord basically said, like, nope, we're not, you know, I'm not going to be moving that bed out. So you either use it or it just stays in the room. And because they wanted to keep the bed that they had, they were like, well, fine, we'll just use the bed that you've left in the house. So what they decided to do with this space instead was they put a desk in there, so it can be used as like, you know, a work at home workspace, or, you know, it's just their computer area. I kind of thought to myself that maybe one of them works from home, so, you know, COVID, all of that jazz, one of them works from home and this is now their office. So that was kind of the idea behind it and why I decided to have it in this room. So, you know, if they do have their Sims meetings or whatever, then you know, they've got that space, and it does look, you know, it doesn't look ultra professional, but it looks better than being like on the, you know, out downstairs or outside or something. So they do have an extra space. So as you can see, like, yeah, the furniture that I'm using, it's something that they, again, just wouldn't probably use in their own house if they had bought this, but, you know, it works for them. And do you know what, I actually quite like this room, and if it wasn't with this alternative couple, I'd probably still decorate it like this for a family, because I think it is quite cute. It definitely has like that spare room kind of vibe to it, with like the paintings and stuff, and with the double bed. So I think it comes together really nicely. So one thing that I didn't decide to do was I decided not to show myself building the bathroom. I think it's a shame actually that I decided not to show the build of the bathroom, because it actually came together really nicely, and what I decided to do was use a kitchen cabinet as like a cupboard in there that they could use for like shampoos, towels, toilet rolls and all of that, and it actually looks really cool. There is a picture of it at the end, but yeah, I just decided, like, I think bathrooms are quite like boring to watch, same as hallways. I think hallways are quite boring to watch, but I do include my hallways. But yeah, it's not, you know, it's just the same thing, isn't it, over and over again. It has to be a toilet, it has to be, well, it doesn't have to be a shower and it doesn't have to be a bath, but most of the time what I end up doing is I'm like, oh, because I like baths and my partner likes showers, I just go for the bath shower thing. And really, like, you could mix it up and probably be quite creative, but yeah, no, so with the bathroom space, it is a bath on one side, a shower on the other, and then you've got a toilet, and then you've got some like built-in cupboards and stuff. So no, it did come together really nicely, and I probably should have shown it, but you'll see some screenshots. And if you do decide to download this build, you'll be able to look at it in more detail. So as you can see, I've moved on to the art room. So the only thing I haven't done is I haven't play tested this, so hopefully that is enough space for her to paint and sew and do whatever she needs to do in that room, but possibly might not, so you might have to remove a few items. I mean, what I might do is I might play test it, and then when I put it on the gallery, I'll put in the notes section whether it's like possible to work with these things or whether you can actually do that. Because I mean, for me personally, I'm not bothered about gameplay, I just like how things look, so I do sometimes put things in really annoying places for people who do like gameplay. So a long time ago I did used to really enjoy gameplay, but yeah, it's just not really, I just don't really bother anymore. I just enjoy building, and I think it's since I found the community on Instagram that also like building, and it showed me that I'm not like this weird person that just wants to create a new family each time and just wants to build all the time, because that's actually a thing, and quite a lot of other simmers do that. And yeah, so we are coming up to near to the end of the video. And as you all know, I love to talk throughout the screenshots, but I do have some music and I don't want to talk through it. So I'm going to try and wrap this up, but we are getting towards the wallpaper. So do you think, a question I'd like answered is, do you think wallpaper should be done before you're finished or after you finish building? What do you think? Like, does the wallpaper go and then you put items in, or do you do what I've done and you put all the items in and then you decide the wallpaper? I really can't decide. I don't know what actually makes more sense. So I do go through it, and I do actually choose the items really, I do choose the colours quite quickly, and I think I chose the items quite quickly because I knew what I wanted. So I knew that the build was quite old, they hadn't chose the colours because obviously it's rented accommodation, so it was kind of like, some of it was alright, some of it wasn't great. This is based off one of my friend's places, like her wallpaper. None of us would probably choose it, but it's quirky, it looks quite cool. So that was the idea that I had for this. Like, some of the wallpaper's quirky, but you probably wouldn't choose it if you had the choice. So yeah, we're just cluttering up the wardrobe. Cluttering up the hallway. So I decided to use a few Rottweiler figurines because, you know, they've got Rottweilers, and maybe they went somewhere and got those made so that, you know, they've always got like little figures of their pups. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and yeah, I really hope that you enjoy the screenshots of it.